tired of manufacturing it, and we may, if this catches on, we may not be doing the machine coded for too much longer. But here it goes.
Hi there. I think yes, we have been for about 40 years the only about 20 years ago I started selling carbon tissue that we were manufacturing on, I did it lay down in the beginning, and then over about 10 years ago we started making it on machine coated carbon tissue. Maybe, let me start, we're getting a little ahead of ourselves. My presentation here is something called soot printing. It was a term used in the turn of the 20th century, the 20th century, because it was used, lampblack was the major thing that was used to make carbon tissue, and they made it from soot. A lot of times chimney sweeps would save the stuff they did, and they would compound it into something called lampblack. I want to introduce two people that have been very instrumental in this new project. Laurie Waters, who came to a class of mine on carbon printing, and she wanted to, stand up, Laurie. If you notice, she has PhD after her name, and she's a nuclear physicist. She hates me when I say nuclear. She's semi-retired from Los Alamos. So, and I don't know what she does up there, and you can't ask people at Los Alamos what they do for a living. They don't know either. And then came on a little bit about, 2-3 weeks ago, is Caitlin Buzzetti. And she's one of our brilliant interns. And you saw her up here, very professional, and very happy to have her. And she's been working on the new carbon process. So let's get right to it, because first off, we're not going to talk about exactly how to make a carbon print. I have a book online. If you go into the books at Bostick and Sullivan, you can download a very good, is Phil Schwartz here, or is he out? Is my book any good? Okay, sure, that's kind of a qualified yes. But,
I direct people to that book all the time.
Yeah. If we were to cover a class on how to make a carbon print in total, it would take all day, so we're going to talk about the tissue, and we're going to just briefly go into the process of making a carbon print, and where everybody's keyboard's different, so I have to find it. Now, there's going to be a quiz later, so memorize that. One of the things that never gets talked about in the photo books is there's only three real photo processes. Everything else is based on those photosensitivity systems. We have, I can't even read it here. The top is dichromated colloids or cross-linked colloids. You have the silver processes, you have the iron processes, and you have one that never really made its way into real photography, and Phil and I were talking about it earlier, is the diazo process, because it stains paper. But it's a photosensitive material, but it stains everything orange. And it's okay for making a printing plate, because you're only going to print the ink, not the color of the plate. So that never really enjoyed any real popular use. The carbon print is in a family called cross-linked colloids. There's a little more detail here. Just memorize that for the quiz. But you can see that once you start diagramming things like family positions, I'm going to put this online so if you're photographing it, you can actually pick it up later. We'll put it out there. So the first thing when I was talking to Kate and Laurie is what's a colloid? And you know, I didn't really know what a colloid is, just a weird chemical or system or a liquid. It's different from a solution, and the Wikipedia definition is it is a mixture in which one substance of microscopically dispersed insoluble particles is suspended throughout another substance. Sometimes the dispersed substance alone is called a colloid. In chemistry, which I never took a chemistry class in my life, but in chemistry, colloids are studied as a separate entity from a solution. And they act funny. And one of the great colloids is what we all use is gelatin. Gum arabic is another colloid. Casein is another one. If you know Christina Anderson's book about gum printing, she also talks about casein printing. And these are all just sticky substances that are glue-like, like gelatin. An interesting fact about gelatin is that it's weird. It does weird things chemically that they still don't know today. Howard's not here, but he's a doctor of chemistry, and he'll tell you that it's weird. And how weird is it? Well, for over 100 years, the photographic industry tried to make a synthetic gelatin. It almost wrecked Eastman Kodak back in the 1870s when Eastman's manufacturer of gelatin purified it so it would work better. Took out all the sulfur, and none of his film was working, and nobody knew why. They figured it out. It was the gelatin, because they purified it and got out the active sulfur. And from that day on, Kodak made its own gelatin. They said, screw anybody else, we're making our own gelatin because it's too critical. But to this day, nobody's ever made a synthetic gelatin that actually works well. So that's why we stayed with the 150-year-old gelatin, which, by the way, hide glue is just an early version of gelatin. Wait a minute, I hit the end button. Okay. Where's the first page? Home. Okay, so we can go. Okay. There's some weird stuff about carbon. You make a tissue. You see that yellow and blue stuff laying there? That's called carbon tissue. The word tissue is doesn't mean what we think it means in French. It